When tragedy strikes, the first response from those in power is often swift and predictable. Statements are issued, condemnations are made, and promises follow. But beyond the words, many Nigerians are beginning to ask critical questions. Are these responses truly about solving problems, or are they carefully crafted public relations ritual? Good morning and welcome to The Big Story on Daybreak Live. I am Samson Balogun. And today, we examine a growing concern in our national discourse: crisis response, or PR ritual, the politics of condemnation. From violent attacks to communal clashes and national emergencies, condemnations have become a standard government response. Leaders express sympathy, assure justice, and vow decisive action. Yet, in many cases, the cycle repeats itself, raising doubt about the sincerity, effectiveness, and impact of these reactions. So, is condemnation a necessary first step in crisis management? Or has it become a substitute for real action? Are leaders genuinely constrained by systemic challenges? Or are citizens being fed carefully worded reassurances in place of tangible solution? So, to help us unpack this important issue, we are joined by Honorable Omolaja Olaoye. He brings his insight and perspective on this critical conversation. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, immediately after the crisis in Plateau Jos, he condemned the act in its totality and made assurances that there will be no repeat of that. And over again, we have seen administrations make these kind of claims. From the PDP to the APC, communal clashes, banditry, insurgency across the country has refused to stop. But every time there is a crisis, we hear things like condemnation. We condemn in its totality. We summon all army chiefs to get to the bottom of this and arrest the perpetrators. And oftentimes, no one has been arrested. In Plateau, the incident just occurred. The president was in Jos yesterday. The question still remains: has there been one person that has been arrested just because of this? Do not forget, last year, a similar occurrence happened in Benue. The president charged the army chiefs and even queried why no one had been arrested at that time. But guess what? The story is still the same. We condemn. But what happens after condemnation? Do we have real actions after that? It's something we want to unpack on this show this morning. And I have with me Honorable Omolaja Olaoye. Good to have you on the show.
Good morning to you, Samson. Thanks for having me here today. And good morning to you viewers at home who are listening and watching us as well.
Now, Honorable Omolaja, Nigeria has had, we have had countless condemnations after crises. And then, from attacks to disasters and some other things like that. So, at what point do these statements become more like a PR ritual and not real actions to be taken after the crisis has happened?
Seriously, what happened in Plateau State is so sad and is unhealthy, and it must be condemned by all. But the situation we have in Nigeria is that these occurrences of communal clash need to be stopped. Apart from the ritual of the government, who need to make statements all the time, because even if they don't want to make a statement, sometimes they are being forced by the opposition, who said probably we have a kind of a leader who doesn't have, and he has probably the heart of stone that doesn't sympathize with people. What we see in Plateau State, the government needs to say something. They really need to say something because in their mind, we have a security apparatus who's supposed to be on the top of the situation. And when a lot of them are failed in their duties, they are part of Nigeria as well. In a place like our developed world, inquiry is supposed to be made, even by the state government. We saw what happened during the time of NSAS, whereby Lagos State government constituted an inquiry in order to know how to nip that kind of problem in the bud. We have seen some states who are supporting them, who are even encouraging protests to be happening, despite the fact that we knew that protest is normal. But protest alone doesn't solve any problem. It is left for the state government, who are empowered to do what is necessary. By the time they are able to constitute a kind of a panel, they are going to know what the causes and the solution to the problem. It is not the word of the federal government to do that.
So, you're a member of the APC, yeah, and your political party is in charge at the federal level. So, why does it seem like condemnations often happen to be the end? And it has been a perfect replacement for your political party for decisive actions when crises happen in some places.
This is not about a political party.
Is it the way your political party is handling governance in the country?
It is not about political party. You must know that the communal crisis in Plateau State have started right from the time of Obasanjo. We have seen a lot of people that have been killed. We have seen a lot of cars, a lot of things that have been damaged, a lot of houses that have been burnt down. And mind you, we are even seeing the state governor, Joseph Dariye, supporting the disaster act. And is even arming some people, probably his own tribe, to be fighting. We saw what happened in Taraba and what's this state, whereby Theophilus Danjuma and a lot of service chiefs are the ones that are arming their people. We have seen a situation that about 9 or 10 or 18 army were killed because of communal clashes. This is not about APC. It happened throughout the 16 years of PDP.
So do you agree that consistent or repeated condemnation without decisive action or visible consequences often weaken public trust in governance?
It is not only about public trust, but because you are talking about conventional war and unconventional war. This kind of thing is unconventional war. Because when you are talking about conventional war, you know people to be able to, that you are going to face. But when you are talking about unconventional war, which contain this crisis, are those who you cannot even pinpoint. We have seen a situation that during the time of Buhari, we have seen that even when a lot of these bandits, even Boko Haram, were killed, we have seen Human Rights International who are condemning that a lot of civilians who doesn't know were killed as well. That is why this is the job of security service, who can be able to do a lot of intelligent gathering. They must be able to know the culprit and they must be able to fish them out. Even in the Bible, when they are looking for Jesus, we saw a disciple that are following him, and because of the security, they don't want to pick the wrong person. They make sure probably they bribe somebody. So that is why for you to arrest an innocent or kill an innocent, it is not right for any government to do.
So you agree that there is a war going on in the country?
It is not about the country.
You call it unconventional war.
It is sectional. We are talking about Oyo State. You are talking about
Plateau,
State. We are talking about all that.
Borno, Zamfara.
These are the black spots.
It is no longer sectional. It is taking over the country.
It has never taken over the country. It is sectional. That's what I'm saying.
It is moving to the southwest. Kwara is being affected. Communities are being sacked.
It's Kwara Southwest. If you want to be sincere,
or the share border with southwestern states.
They might share border with western states, no doubt about it. But they are still north central. And you are talking about all these problems peculiar to north central. You are talking about Plateau State, this is north central. You are talking about Benue, north central. You are talking about Taraba, north central. You are talking about Nasarawa, north central. A lot of these things are north central. But when you are talking about the banditry, you are talking about the northeast.
Kwara used to be relatively quiet.
It can be quiet, no doubt about it. But I am just saying these are sectional. and it affected some part. Despite the fact that the onus lies on the federal government to know how they are going to nip this on the ball.
So if unconventional war is going on in sectional part of the country, just like you said, in some sections, is the government winning this war or are they losing?
The government is going to look for the solution.
Are they losing or winning?
It is not about losing. It is not peculiar to Nigeria. When United States of America went to Afghanistan, you are talking about unconventional war. They were there for a very long time and they lost the war. Because we must be able, the peace need to be reigned among ourselves. By the time we are causing disunity among ourselves, by the time we are fighting each other, who do we know who to arrest?
But this is not Nigeria in Cameroon. This is Nigeria in Nigeria. Are we winning or losing this war?
We are fighting it, and it has been there for so many years. For so many years.
Are you saying now that we should justify the fact that the government has failed to win this war, and then it should continue?
No justification. Because whenever there is no government, if there is no president of the government, you are going to know there is going to be anarchy. Anarchy is setting in. But still, the government is trying its possible best. It has been within themselves for years, even before the democracy. It was the democracy that makes this to be known. If it's a militocracy, somebody like you cannot be able to criticize the government. We are just going to be looking at it. But now we have the right to criticize the government. And the government has the right to know how they are going to protect their citizens. That is what is happening. You see President Bola Ahmed Tinubu going there. That's for you to know that it's serious. Then you have not seen a president visiting those black spots. But what happened in Benue as well, when president visited, he gave them a marching order, and a lot of people were arrested. I believe a lot of people are going to be arrested in this case.
Now, who should be held responsible if this kind of crisis continues to happen, despite government assurances that it will not happen again?
It is the failure of the state government. Something similar happened during the administration of Engineer Seyi Makinde, and he politicized it himself. He said the federal government are not doing enough, and when he went to Abuja, he saw a different kind of ball game. The question that was asked from then PMB President Muhammadu Buhari was it that you are not why are you not giving what's it called,
security allocation?
And what are you doing with your local government? Because he had got a report that the local government has been surcharged by the state government. What did the state government do? How many times have you had those clashes that happen in our state again? Because he doesn't know that it was his responsibility. Now that he knows his responsibility, they now concentrate a lot of vigilante group and different kind of group, and we have this what's it called? This Southwest Security Amateku. With what is Amateku doing on other state? They are really trying.
So before we listen to what the president said in Plateau yesterday, is condemnation gradually becoming a political tool used perpetually just to manage public anger rather than solve the problem itself?
Condemnation is forced. For you to know that whatever the actually act is being perpetrated by evil people must be condemned. It must be condemned totally because it's wrong. The government must do that. The government must say things that is going to make even not only Nigerians, the whole world. When the notion and the tag of Christian genocide were being raised in the United States, what do you think the government did? He has to condemn it. I said that it's not like that. Despite the fact that a lot of people have been killed, which is wrong, they must be able to face up to the challenge. But for you to tag it as a Christian genocide is wrong. That's for you to know that it's anything that has to do with killing of the people is being looked bad and condemned throughout the whole world. And that is what the government must say. They must condemn it and they must find a solution to the problem.
So, the president was in Jos, Plateau State yesterday. He arrived amid a low welcome. The spirit was low, but he had a lot to say. Let's listen to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And when we are back, there's a lot to talk about.
Who had accommodated us. I brought the symbol of this cap to break the shackle of violence, shackle of ignorance, shackle of poverty, shackle of hopelessness. We must break it together. I thank the men and women of the armed forces, particularly the police, for what they are doing and what they are about to do. You must unearth and find the killers. I'm glad IGP is here. I'm glad COAS is here too, Chief of Army Staff. I'm glad the Minister of Defense is here. Our dear leaders, I've been to Jos, I've enjoyed Jos in those days of peace. We've held our political activities here. Yaya Kande, I'm glad you are still alive. We thank God for you and many of you. Thank you. I used to point to your house where we spend the night, where the leaders, both the leaders of our politics, where I was active as a young man. You accommodated us. You opened your doors for us. Then why do we lose in division? Our promise then was progressive development, improved standard of living for our people. Not to bury, but to develop. Immediately we returned to Abuja. The committee, as mentioned, you increase the number of leaders, including Natawe, the governor, and the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs. The minister, thank you. Come see me, take numeric analysis. You are a data person for the victims. Let's see what we can do. For their losses we cannot replace in human beings. But whatever we do to give them minimum comfort, we will.
That was the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria right there in Jos, Plateau State, yesterday. Honorable Bola Jaulawi, you listened to what the President said. Some said his speech there, the entirety of it, was not so content-filled. That was not what some people wanted to hear from the President. What's your opinion about that?
I think you are being unfair, Samson, because what I heard just now, it's a very emotional
Is that
speech.
a message of hope?
It is the core problem of our society. He was talking about the shackle of disunity. If there is unity, do you think there can be this kind of killing? He was talking about to break the shackle of poverty. A lot of people talk about how they committed crimes and how they involve in criminality because they are because of their poverty nature. And you are talking about shackle of ignorance. How can an human being be killing each other if it's not for ignorance sake, because of any clashes on land, or because of their superiority or their belief their ancient beliefs. He was talking about ignorance as well. Those are the core problems. If it can be solved, we are not going to be having this kind of problems.
So critics have said that government officials are quicker to send messages out, of course release press releases out there to condemn. But when it comes to taking decisive actions, they are usually very slow. So what could be the problem?
Like I said to you, this problem you are having is an unconventional kind of problem because you don't know even the head or the back, this and that. But I love what President Tinubu did right now. That is the way he involved them in Benue State. Because when it's like an adage that says that when the head of a child is being bed at the back of the mother, it's only the elders that know how they are going to be able to adjust it. By the time he involved all these leaders and elders in Plateau State and he involved them in Benue State, we have seen the kind of killing and the fighting, it has abated right now in Benue, like the way it's been done before. This problem can be solved. Let them talk like human beings. It wasn't an invader that killed all these people. It's people among themselves.
So you have insisted that government has always taken steps. So what concrete policy or actions can you point to that says or shows all the direction that the government has always taken actions when it comes to critical situations like this?
I am telling you sincerely, the problem that body Plateau State is Plateau's problem, despite the fact that it's the Nigerian problem. But there must be inquiry. It is normal for the state government, the state governor, to set up an inquiry. And this inquiry is going to be known to the people, to the public. They must outline the problems from different people, from different ethnic groups, from different community, and they must identify what is causing these problems.
So you have mentioned right at the beginning of this show that condemnation is absolutely necessary. It is
necessary. It is
that
necessary.
the government responds and of course sends a message out there for the people to know that they are on the
for
case.
the world, not even the people, for the world to know that the government are not even supporting this. They hate it, they don't like it.
So if condemnation comes first, what should be the next step? For
it is
them
inquiry.
to show seriousness in leadership.
Seriousness. That is what the government of the state must do. They must set up an inquiry. Inquiry is to know the causes of the problem and the solution. And it is not going to be done by one person. It is going to be done by the pool of the people. It must be done. We have seen during the time of who set Babangida or who set up this Kiriko's panel of inquiry that asks about what has been happening for a very long time. Inquiry needs to be set. By the time the state government set an inquiry, they must identify the problem. They have different kind of security outfit that is going to be able to channel all the information to them. That is the way it's being done. It is the first responsibility of the government, and it's the state government that is going to notify the federal government what needs to be done. The inquiry needed.
So, Honorable, would you honestly admit that in some cases, sometimes, these condemnations are always in disconnection with the realities on ground?
It is not. It is not. Because, like what happened between when you are talking about Christian genocide, if the government are not making references to what has been happening for a very long time, that the government are not in support of all this criminality. Don't you just imagine what the United States government will have done to Nigeria when Nigeria has been set to the part of probably a nation or a concerned nation, and government was able to defend himself when you are talking about this, and he even allowed them to come in to strike some places. For you to know that condemnation is the first thing, the first key thing, the first response of the government, and then there need to be solution. And thank God, he called all the services, both the police, both the army, both the navy, their name were called for them to know that this must be done. And when a lot of leaders and elders were present, he even challenged them to know how they are going to make sure that this problem is solved. Ignorance is the key.
So, if you were to advise President Bola Ahmed Tinubu this morning, what would you tell him to change about how crises are solved, handled, and communicated.
It's on top of this crisis management. It's on top of this crisis management. He started governing Lagos State since 1999.
Some of you have always referenced to Lagos.
Yes.
But Nigeria is a complex case.
Because that is where the problem started. That is where the problem of Egbesu boy. That is where Odua People Congress was created. You know, that is a lot of clashes were happening in Lagos. A lot of killing. People are being burned alive. And the problem was solved. I am not trying to arouse his ego or try to glorify him. I'm just making reference because the references are there. The book are there to be opened. The people are there to be read. And he solved it. Ever before Bukola, ever before banditry, all these problems started from Lagos. And it was captured. Even when you are talking about robbery as well, it started from Lagos. Serious robbery. And when this problem was solved, I will not doubt his efficacy when it's come to how he's going to be on top of the problem. And he has challenged a lot of people. He never said he can be the only one that is going to solve it. He challenged the service chief. He's challenged the leader, the elders. All of them is who he challenged.
As a member
and
of
he even make reference to humanitarian ministers who was there present that he can be able to give data if for the poverty level to be able to be solved or called.
Just for the few that were on sea.
It is not about that. Why is there we have Minister of Humanitarian Affairs? For them to solve Nigerian problem. It is not for them, for Minister of Humanitarian Affairs to solve Togo's problem or Ghana's problem. It is meant for Nigerian problem.
Honorable Mola Jalawi, how difficult has it been for you to openly criticize your own political party on radio?
It is not about I love. That is what I love. Others to call.
Are members of your political party doing enough to hold your party accountable, especially now they are in power at the federal level?
They must be held accountable.
The things you condemned as an opposition back then are the things that are happening now, and you are defending it.
I am not defending it because I have seen a situation that a president said the problem of Bukola is belong to the north, not belong to the south. And for you to know that word is reckless, I have seen that a president has said stealing is not corruption. They must hold themselves responsible for that. When President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, if he made any mistake, he's going to be able to know how to plead and beg for it. It is not about me supporting my political party. It is when any of them does wrong, we are going to be able to face them, of course, because they are not invisible. They can be able to, for you, when you make a mistake, when you say you are sorry, it is accepted. We have seen a president of the United States who has committed a lot of error, even killed a lot of school children in Iran, and he has never admitted and said sorry.
Lastly, is your political party too focused on politics that governance is slipping away from your fingertips?
The governance are not ever slipping away from fingertips, and if they are not concentrated on politics, you are going to see that the opposition are going to lie to the people, and they are going to mess up the situation. They are going to come in and mess up the situation. Anything, the truth must be said. For anybody that tells lies, the world knows, and the words are not fool. They know who to trust between the light and the darkness.
Honorable Bola Jalawi, thank you for joining us on the show this morning.
Thank you for having me.
All right. It is clear that while words may offer comfort in moments of pain, citizens are increasingly demanding more accountability, more actions, and more results. As the debate continues on, one thing is clear and remains certain. The true measure of leadership is not just in what is said during a crisis, but in what is done after the headline fades. Thanks to my guest, Honorable Mola Jalawi, for sharing his thoughts with us today on the show. You have been watching The Big Story on Daybreak Live Extra. I am Samson Balogun. Stay informed, of course stay engaged, and keep the conversation going. Up next is Trend Watch.